Picture this. You're Nigel Farage, you're the MP for Clacton, you've voted in 69 out of the 206 divisions, that's a 33% attendance record. Your own constituents say that you've never seen you, local councillors publicly said that you've done nothing since you've got elected, you mentioned Clacton in Parliament a grand total of 4 times, 4 in nearly 2 years. So what do? Do you finally roll up your sleeves and help the people of one of the most deprived constituencies in England? Of course not. No, you fly off to the Maldives. Yep, because we're going to have a look at how the Member for Parliament managed to turn a restricted military territory into the backdrop for his own vanity project, while the people who actually voted for him are left wondering if he knows where the A133 is. Right, so here's what happened. This week, a group of 4 Chagosians, people with genuine heartbreaking connection to the Chagos Islands, sailed from Sri Lanka to the Iludikon. I probably just butchered that name, but they wanted to try and resettle on their ancestral homeland. One of them, Michael Mandarin, is a 74-year-old. He was forcibly removed from the island when he was 14. He said that he'd rather die than leave again. That is a real story about real people with a real grievance against the British government going back decades. Enter Nigel Farage, cape billowing, completely uninvited to make it all about himself. He flew to the Maldives, which is roughly 300 miles from the Chagos Islands, claiming that he was going to personally join a boat delivering food and medical supplies to the Chagosians. A humanitarian mission, he called it.
I'm here in the Maldives. It's Saturday, and 200 miles over there is Ile-de-Quoi, British territory that has now been settled by British citizens, and yet the British government is doing everything it can to get those people off the island. A couple of them have said they'd rather die than be taken away from their homeland. One of them was forcibly removed from that island 55 years ago. And now the British government want to do it for a second time, which is monstrous. You can see over here, in the distance, that's the boat. It's come back to the Maldives. It's going to be going back with, and frankly, medical kit, humanitarian aid, food, etc. And we're doing that because it's the right thing to do. I've come here to help the mission.
Now, just hold that thought for a second. Nigel Farage, humanitarian, the bloke who spent decades demonising refugees, who built his entire career on telling desperate people in dinghies to turn around, he's suddenly Florence Nightingale with a passport and a camera crew. I mean, it's peak Nigel, isn't it? He's on a helping mission by standing on a different island entirely, filming a clip, and then hopping on a flight back to the UK before he has to deal with any actual restricted access permits or, heaven forbid, a conversation with a fisherman in Clacton.
I was hoping myself to go to the island. I'm just not going to have time. There's a by-election to get back for, but I will come at some point in the future.
I mean, did you catch that? He flew to the Indian Ocean, recorded a dramatic video about the humanitarian crisis, pointed at the sea, and then said, actually, I can't go because I've got something on. The by-election, by the way, is in Gorton-Denton, which is in Manchester. He's obviously not the candidate, and he just wants to be there for the cameras when the result comes in. So he ditched the humanitarian mission he flew 5,000 miles for to go stand outside a different county in a seat that isn't his. He claimed that the British High Commission is doing everything they can to find him. I mean, that's just pure delusion.
But here's the most extraordinary thing. The British government are applying pressure on the President and the government of the Maldives to do everything within their power to stop me getting on that boat and going to the Chagos Islands.
He thinks he's an international man of mystery, being hunted by Starmer's goons, when in reality the only people looking for him are the residents of Jaywick, who haven't seen their MP since the polls closed. Except the Maldives government denied it. A senior Maldivian government told the Atoll Times, which is literally their local paper, that they placed no obstacles on the trip whatsoever. None. Zero. The story Farage told about being blocked, well, the Maldives say it didn't happen. So either the British government launched a covert international operation to stop Nigel Farage from getting on a dinghy, or Farage made it up because it sounds better than I went on holiday near some islands and then I came home. And then, because it wouldn't be Farage video without being completely off the deep end, he said this.
Now, if I was an ISIS fighter crossing the channel to Dover, they wouldn't give a damn. No, they put me in a hotel, they give me 3 meals a day. But here I am, a member of parliament, leader of a political party that's topping the polls. The British government, the High Commissioner here, they're doing everything they can. They've got search parties out trying to find me, and they do not want me to leave this place.
Now let that sink in. He compared himself, a sitting MP who flew business class to a tropical island, to an ISIS fighter in a dinghy. I mean, that comparison he reached for. Not if I was a journalist or if I was an aid worker. No, ISIS fighter. Because in Nigel Farage's mind, the most persecuted person in any room is always Nigel Farage. And here's the thing about the Chagos Islands. They're restricted territory. You need a permit from the British government to go there. There's no commercial flights, there's no tourist infrastructure. The UK government travel advice page literally says this is not a tourist destination. Farage didn't get blocked by some sinister conspiracy. He just didn't have permission to go to a restricted military zone. And that's it. That's the whole story. But the thing that really gets me is the Clacton of it all. This is the constituency where you'll die 18 years younger than Saffron Walden, which is 50 miles up the road. 1 in 5 residents have never had a job. Only 15% have a degree, half the national average. Coastal erosion is eating the town alive, and climate central mapping suggests that part of it could actually face annual flooding by 2030. And their MP voted just in a third of divisions, spoken in Parliament 46 times in nearly 2 years. Mate, that's even less than once a week. He's mentioned his own constituency 4 times, made at least 9 trips to the United States, and even his predecessor, a Conservative backbencher that nobody's even heard of, managed an 88% voting attendance. Farage manages 33%. He's less present than the man who was literally just a warm body on the backbenches. Nigel Farage, the MP for Clacton, who can't be found in Clacton, flew to the Maldives to go to the Chagos Islands, but didn't go to the Chagos Islands.
This is pretty much the end of my mission. I'm not going to make it to Chagos, but I tell you what, I wish those guys on that island well. And when I come back, I hope it's going to be a full functioning settlement that lasts forever.
He didn't have permits that you need to enter restricted military territory. He abandoned his own humanitarian mission to fly home for a by-election in someone else's constituency, and the actual Chagosians, the people with the real skin in the game, had to watch Nigel Farage turn their decades-long fight for their homeland into a 2-minute clip for Twitter. The man who wants to be Prime Minister can't find his own constituency, he can't find Chagos Islands, but the one thing he can reliably find always is a camera.